Thank you so much to the Rich Earth Institute for organizing this. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. And I want to acknowledge the work I'll talk about today as a collaboration between our group and that of Johannes Lehmann. You'll see some short videos from Eli Newell, Andrew Hubble, and Alyssa Kim, which were co-produced with Ace Repka. And I'll mention work by a couple students, Bella Coletta and Mattea Lebeau. And I'm so thrilled to be with you today. Wonderful presentation so far, and I'm just thrilled to be with you. So our local would be Ithaca, New York at Cornell, and at our local community engagement site, the Soil Factory. And our global, I'll mention, is significant collaboration with a group in Western Kenya, some work in India, and then just thrilled to be part of the Rich Earth community. So as others have mentioned, Chelsea yesterday and others going on, we have the ultra local use of straight up urine, and then we're working also on ways to concentrate and transform it as our others. On the ultra local side, my own interest has to do with the support for peri-urban populations, not only, but sort of some focus on the idea that 39% of people in the world live within an hour of the city, so they have access to rural crop residues, carbon-rich, low-value materials, perhaps, and then also low-value, high nutrient-rich materials such as excreta and compost. And so the idea is to develop sort of ways of producing food using these materials, and we're calling it Grow As You Go gardening. The collaboration with Kenya is with Charles Midega of Poverty Health Integrated Solutions, and trying to substitute out some of this heavy metal laden local soil options with waste-derived potting horticultural mixes. We're calling them organic underutilized resources, or our stuff. So just working to inventory what are the materials, collect, aggregate, transform, and utilize the materials. This is working in one of the informal settlements, Nyalenda of Kisumu in Western Kenya. Then closer to home, we're doing research in sort of parallel with work in Kenya, using cereal residues, wheat and maize stover, and combining them with compost, biochar, and urine. And our many experiments have shown that urine improves yield, as others have mentioned, and also incorporating biochar into the mix improves water holding and the plant production. So we'll be expanding on those for inside and outdoor mini experiments, but we're setting up a big experiment at the student farm, and you'll see that in the film by Eli. So we're also working on capturing nutrients, particularly on biochar, just a figure from a publication, not our own, and you'll hear a little bit about that also from Alyssa Kim and Andrew Hubble, who are postdocs working with Johannes and myself. So I kind of like the frameworks that other people have presented, possibly more, but I think about the technical, legal, regulatory, and sociocultural frontiers. I mentioned the two things that we're doing on the technical frontier, and just want to mention some of the sociocultural work. We have art-science collaboration. I'll just mention a couple things going on there. Really thrilled how the New York Times article came out after engaging a lot with the writer of that one. I teach a course called Food Cycle about circular economy for organic resources, and again, working with people at the student farm is another way of sort of trying to shape how the next generation thinks about these things. But I was really impressed that a recent plant science grad, Bella Coletta, is working with doing her last semester fine arts student, Mattea Lebeau, and they did a couple of arty installations about circular bionutrient economy, and this was and might still be on the landing page for Cornell.edu for our whole university. This is something they did on the arts quad with toilets and plants, and at the agriculture quad, the ag quad, they put up the circular circus, and we had our ultra portable eco-loo there and some fun things. And this piece shows you how different boroughs of New York produce enough. One borough of New York can produce enough urine that you can balance it out with the agricultural needs of a very big fraction of New York State. And there's a fun activity to illustrate how supply and demand, supply from urban areas can service agricultural needs of rural areas. So onwards to the videos. I hope I can pull this off.
I'm Eli Newell, an undergraduate working in Rebecca Nelson's lab, and so honored to work alongside Rebecca, Julian, and Ace. This is Cayuga Lake. We want to keep nutrients out of aquatic ecosystems like this one, and instead use them as fertilizer to grow beautiful, nutritious, and useful plants. With urine collected in our Ecoloo collecting porta potty and around campus, we're gearing up to begin a large experiment in our new high tunnel at Cornell's Dillman Hill Student Farm. Our research questions are many, with a focus on two problems. First, soil contamination. The urban and peri-urban places with the greatest urine supplies, with the most people with high population densities, don't necessarily have safe, uncontaminated soil to grow food in. Legacies of mining, use of leaded paint and gasoline, have left urban soils contaminated with heavy metals. Even our research site at Cornell is plagued with lead and arsenic contamination left over from years of orchard pest management with lead arsenate. In need of clean horticultural media free of heavy metals, we simply look around us. Cornfields abound, and the stalks they leave behind are underutilized. By harvesting the corn stalks, after the corn has been harvested, they can be chopped into a serviceable substrate to condition with urine and then to plant into. The second problem of concern is salt and salinity. Urine is a good fertilizer because it reflects our diet. Plants take up nitrogen, for instance, to make amino acids, proteins, DNA, ATP, chlorophyll, everything the plants need to live and grow, and every reason why we and the animals we eat plants. When we apply urine as fertilizer, we return those essential nutrients, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, to the agroecosystem. But we also eat salt, and then it comes out in our pee. Overwhelmingly, the literature urges precaution on using urine as fertilizer. The World Health Organization warns that the use of urine can accelerate the process of soil salinization in arid and semi-arid environments, though adding that appropriate drainage can reduce the problem. And the porous, open structure of cereal residues might just provide that drainage. We have conducted many experiments and are now beginning a larger experiment in our high tunnel to understand how the material evolves as it breaks down, and if this can be a successful system for those in need of solutions for sanitation, contamination, or salinization.
I'm Andrew Hubble, and I'm a postdoc with a background in pyrolysis, biochars, and biowood. One option for nutrient recovery from waste streams involves capturing phosphorus and nitrogen directly onto biochar. Biochar is a carbonaceous residue left over from treating biomass, such as crop residues or manure, with high heat and limited oxygen in a process known as pyrolysis. Diagrammed on the left, by preventing the majority of carbon and hydrogen in the system from oxidizing, they're forced to react with each other and whatever micronutrients or copyrolates are present. Gases and condensates are also formed during this process, so the fraction of remaining biochar is dependent upon the pyrolysis conditions. The biochar's specific properties depend on the biomass used to create it, but typically, biochar has high carbon content, improved porosity and surface area, and at higher temperatures generates stable graphitic carbon. The improved porosity and surface area, shown on the right, allows the biochar to act like a sponge, soaking up water, nutrients, and even providing a home for soil microbes. The phosphorus and nitrogen can then be slowly released back to the plants. Additionally, the stable carbon can act as a long-term carbon sequestration strategy. By fine-tuning the pyrolysis process, we can generate biochars that are especially adept at absorbing specific nutrients, in this case, phosphorus and nitrogen. By passing the urine waste streams over our specialty biochars, we can recover phosphorus and nitrogen, trap them in our porous biochar, and return them to the soil where they can be taken up by plants again.
Hello, I'm Alyssa Kim. I am a PhD in crop and soil science, especially in soil biochemistry. I'm currently working on nutrient recovery from urine using biochar. To maximize the recovery of nitrogen and phosphorus, differently modified or engineered biochars can be used. Our best candidate biochar for nitrogen recovery is oxidized wood biochar, which can absorb much greater amount of ammonia gas than not oxidized biochar. Up to 180 milligrams of ammonia nitrogen per gram biochar can be added to this biochar, which is way higher absorption capacity when compared to recovering nitrogen in forms of ammonium ions. One of the benefits here is that the urine nitrogen can be volatilized as ammonia gas, and the biochars that retain more of those ammonia nitrogen is not in direct contact with urines, which is more desirable in terms of sanitation and absorption of untargeted chemicals. Plus, the ammonia absorption can be enhanced by CO2 purging, which shows potential to reduce carbon emission during the process. Meanwhile, magnesium-doped biochar is the best candidate for urine phosphorus recovery. Through precipitation, complexation, and electrostatic attraction, magnesium-doped biochar can absorb from 70 to 200 milligram phosphorus per gram biochar. Then, are there any special benefits of using biochar when recovering urine-derived nitrogen and phosphorus? There are several reasons. First, as mentioned, biochar can be produced from agricultural residues and human waste. This contributes to safely managing wastes and recycling them for production. Second, using biochar helps to reduce energy required for retrieving nutrients because the biochar that absorbed nutrients can be directly applied to soil. If not, chemical compounds in urine should be crystallized and separated, which takes a lot of energy. Also, the transportation is easier when the nutrients are bound to biochar rather than existing in solution form. Easily speaking, biochar is lighter than P. Biochar is known to increase soil health and plant growth. For example, its fine pore structure helps microbial activity and increases soil and plant health. Also, biochar has great buffering capacity and regulates soil pH. This property also makes biochar-based fertilizer as slow-release fertilizer, which can help plants to uptake available nutrients throughout time. Urine application in the form of liquid can lead to leaching of additional nutrients that were not uptaken by plants, and biochar can help regulate the release of nutrients recovered from the urine.